excited because we are in a new year and a lot of you are ready for a new start, a refresh, which is why this week's guest, Heike Yates of Pursue Your Spark, is going to just share with us how to reclaim some of our confidence, but also, be better pursuit of our health and well-being. So stay tuned. Hello and welcome to Got Clutter, to get organized, the conversation. As you know, I always get excited, especially when it's a returning guest. And of course, it's the new year and we are just doing things in a different way. We're setting that reset button. And if we have to start all over again and do something completely new, I want all of us to embrace it, which is why I have our guest. She wrote, first of all, she's a returning guest. She's a health and fitness coach. She is a podcaster, but now she is an author. Well, she probably was always an author. And of course, the name of her book is, of course, Pursue Your Spark. And I want Heike to welcome and welcome. I want you to share what made you decide to write this book. Because when I saw it, I was like, yes, we need this.
First off, thank you for having me back on the show. It is always such a pleasure to chat with you and share what I know from my fitness and wellness background with your audience. And we always get to connect on a deeper level, catching up on, hey, how's your life been since I talked to you last? And it's always wonderful. But what made me write my book? I've been dabbling for a while and thinking about, I want to write a book, but then I didn't know what the book was going to be about. And I'm thinking, I don't want to write another fitness nutrition books. There's so many books out there. And since we're airing this in January, this is the perfect time. We all don't need another nutrition plan or an exercise plan. We know all the stuff. We know what we could do. We know where to start for the most part, because many people, as you know, too, say, I don't know where to start. I'm like, well, start at the bottom. Start with a walk. Pull out your drawer in your world and just look into it and see what happens. And then I saw so many of my friends writing books, and I was like, man, why not me? I still did not know what the book was going to be about. And may I share that story?
Yes, you may.
So, client that I've been working with for years, she just celebrated her 80th birthday. And this is important because the book is for women in midlife. And many women see the book and say, oh, it's a midlife book. It's all about menopause. And I don't think I've mentioned menopause more than once in there, because out of necessity in the whole book. But it's not a book about menopause. And so she comes to me for Pilates. And of course, you have a very close relationship and you talk about anything. And her husband has taken the health turn for the worse. So she felt really tethered to the house. She couldn't go out and do what she wanted to do with, setting everything up. So he has everything. And then she goes somewhere and she's always checking her phone. Is he going to text me? Is he going to be fine? Did he fall? What is he doing? What's going on? So her daughter said, Mom, you need to come and visit me for a weekend. And we just leave Dad. And some of the other kids can take care of Dad. I mean, they're all adults, right? They're not kids, but they're all adults. And so one of her sons came to stay with her husband. And so she visited her daughter for a full weekend. Okay, so she goes, she comes back, and she comes back beaming. And I was like, what happened? And of course, all the names in my book that pertain to my clients are all changed. So I'm not going to say that name. As it pertains to me, they're all real life scenarios and real life occasions. And I say, what happened? She says, oh my God, it was amazing. We went out for coffee. We walked around town. We ate lunch when we wanted to. I did not worry a bit about him. Not that I don't love him, but I didn't feel guilty of doing the things I wanted to do. I didn't feel guilty about not checking in with him all the time. I felt so untethered, so free. I felt like myself. Now, the important part was she didn't say I felt like myself again, which comes up in the book a couple of times. But in that context, for me writing the book, it was not about I need to go back to where I was when I was younger. And I don't need to go back to the strategies that I've already tried that may or may not have worked, but where I am right now. And I looked at her and I said, "This is my book." And she was all confused because she was like, "What book? Huh?" And I said, "Now I know what I want to write the book about. It's about self improvement at any age. And midlife to me means 30 to 80 at least. Because we are staying younger and healthier and stronger so much longer in mind and in body that this what targeted the book. And to work I went.
That's exciting. And when you said that, I thought about because recently, well, a few months ago, I had a birthday, and the woman who was my babysitter called me. My babysitter. Now I'm 60s. My babysitter called me. She left a message, and as she was hanging up, she was telling her daughter, "I wonder if Janet remembers me." Now, mind you, she's over 90 years old, and I'm thinking, remember, I'm surprised that you remember me. And like you said, we're living longer, we're healthier physically and mentally. So I love the fact that you've written it for those age groups because I think the 30-year-olds can they can start if I was 30, now knowing what I know now, I would do things a little differently with diet and exercise. But hey, I feel great at this age knowing what I know, but I am so happy that it sparked you. It's all right. You
It
were wrong.
literally did. It sparked. I was like, this is it. This is what we're going to talk about. It's not about exercise, it's not about nutrition, but it's the background of the book. So there are nutrition plans and exercise ideas and things like this with sheets that people can print out or download. But this is the premise is not the premise is what do you do when you're stuck? And the book is right here, my little
Yeah.
orange color, everything's
Yes,
orange.
I love the orange color. I love it, love it.
It's, getting unstuck, and you can feel stuck in your 30s and your 40s. And I don't know if you remember that, Janet. It's every 10 years, for myself, I feel something changed
Yeah.
and I wanted to do something different.
Mhm. Yeah.
And my mindset has, oh, these are not my priorities any longer. I'm no longer a
Mhm.
mom. I'm no longer dealing with menopause. But where do I go from here?
Mhm. Mhm. I understand. So, what do you think are some of maybe the common myths about aging? And it's like it's interesting, when people hear that somebody who is maybe 80 years old and still very active, and they're like, what? Still maybe wearing heels. Not that I wear heels anymore, but still wearing heels and still feeling like they're 40. What are some of those myths that you've heard?
Recently I came across a post that said, the 60 is not the new 40. Who wants to be 40 when you can be 60?
I like that. And that is the truth.
It's no, I'm not 40. I am 60 and I'm embracing my 60.
Hmm.
And I am smarter. I have also health things that may niggle on me, but I have new possibilities. Because also, some of us are retiring earlier. We're saying, I'm done with this job. And we have the possibility of starting a new job. So the myth that we're done when we retire, we're not done. We're simply done with this part of our life. But what's next? What are we going to do next?
Mm,
So that is a myth too, that we can't continue further, that we may have to. And I know this sounds nowadays so outdated that I sit around and with the grandkids and hang out and play with the grandkids. But some people, that's their thing, that's their calling. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with you ladies who just like to dote on your grandkids and that's your calling. There's nothing wrong with that, because I feel sometimes we're putting these women down a little bit. It's like they're not,
mhm.
they just want to spend time with the grandkids. I'm like, yep, if that floats your boat, that's what you do.
Yeah.
But that we cannot start anything new as we're aging. That we're done. And so many women start new businesses, write a book. 64, my very first book. So this is one of the myths. The other one is that we're too old, that we're just too old for anything. I'm like, why should I start now? I should have, air quotes, started when I was younger, which I hear a lot too. No, I believe you shouldn't have started because you may have not had the time. the resources, and I'm sorry I have to say, but the smarts to do that.
You're
It's
right.
like you were preoccupied with something else. So
Mhm,
we're not too old and we're not the new 40 and we can start new careers and we we're not limited. We
mhm,
limit ourselves by what we think is expected from us from society, the
mm,
societal pressure of people around us.
mhm, mhm. And you're right about that because I mean, you and I both know. So one mentor, she wrote her first book at 78. Another mentor, she started a podcast in her 80s. I have a friend who retired 2 years ago from a corporate job. Now she is just pursuing her passion in arts.
Yes.
So you're right. It's like I think we're part of that generation where when we get to that age 50, 60, we know that's just a new beginning for us. Whereas in the past, when people got to that place, it was like, okay, I'm not going to work anymore. I'm just going to hang around the house. I'll maybe get involved in some community activities, hang out with my friends. So it's a totally different trend. So
Mhm.
I really, really like that. So how does the physical health and fitness connect with the confidence in the midlife?
Don't you feel like after you exercise, you actually got your buttski out the door? You're like, okay, I did it. I got going. Don't you feel just awesome afterwards?
Yeah, true. So true. So, so true.
You
So true.
feel, and it's, and you know, so many women say, I just walk. That's fantastic.
That's
I
me.
would always throw in, you need a little strength training. We need strength
Yeah,
training. Let's
yeah,
keep pushing for that, ladies. So
that's
don't get hold back. And kitchen counter push-ups qualify in my books as well. So you
oh,
don't always have to buy gadgets to do strength training.
oh,
But
I like that tip.
fitting it in, which I hear oftentimes is it's hard to fit in. I don't have time, but you're in the kitchen waiting for your coffee or tea, and you can do a couple of kitchen counter push-ups, and it all adds up because the exercise gives us those positive endorphins, gives us those happy hormones, makes us feel good. It's like today here in Maryland, the weather is gorgeous. It's fall, the colors are amazing. It's been sunny. It's just beautiful outside. So I've been trying to go out every day for a long, long walk, and it
Mm,
makes me feel good. I'm listening to a book. I like murder mysteries, so I'm listening to a book and I just walk around. And sometimes I don't listen to anything. I just walk and listen to the wind and what people are chitty-chatting about me. But it gives you such a good feeling, and that feeling translates into your day. When
mhm,
you feel grumpy, go and do an exercise, whatever it is you're doing. But that feel good, it translates into all of what we're doing.
mhm. I mean, I love walking, and actually, I've worked up to 8 miles.
Bravo.
So yeah, so I would do my walks, and like you, I like walking. I like looking at because you're in a community with there's bushes and flowers and trees and babies and puppies and just everything, and I like just taking all that in. So you're right, that walk does wonders, and I tell people sometimes even just a walk around the block will
Yeah.
really just kind of change things for you. So in your coaching, what small daily practices have the highest impact on maybe self-esteem?
Over Overarching umbrella, I would say putting yourself first as an overarching umbrella.
Mm,
And if you want a daily strategy, I would say, is step away from things that stress you out. All of
yeah.
us sit on the computer way too long. We're fiddling around, we're doing stuff, and then we go on social media and then we get stuck there. And then whatever, and hours later, nothing has changed. But take a step back and evaluate like you do with your business when you're decluttering. You take a step back and you take inventory. What serves me? What doesn't serve me anymore? What needs to go? And I do this every year at the end of the year. I go through my Pursue Your Spark business and I see what I need to let go of. That number one, I don't enjoy anymore, which goes for any activity. If you not don't like to cook, you got to find somebody else to do it for you, or you order in. Well, let's not say that. You could order in, but there's so many meal places that
Mhm.
cater to you for healthy foods. For instance, my son in the Netherlands, And then with our two grandchildren, they have a woman in the Netherlands that cooks mostly Greek inspired foods, all healthy stuff. My daughter in law has a lot of allergies. And so this woman cooks 4 meals, and then they bicycle over, as it is in the Netherlands, and they pick up their loot for the week. And so they have 4 fully cooked, healthy meals that all they have to do is heat them up.
Mm.
So that could be ordering in a sense as well. It doesn't have to be junk food or whatever
Mm-hmm.
you
Mm-hmm.
order, but it's like, make it lighter on yourself. Make it really look at what brings you joy. And like with my business, I need to look in December again. What do I need to let go of? What social media channel has to go? Because it's just too much.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
narrow it down to, like Marie Kondo says, what brings you joy?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And
And
no, I was gonna say that's important because I also wanted to say something you said about, we sit in front of these computers way too much. And it's interesting that when I do corporate trainings, people, first of all, they don't take lunches, which I'm just shocked at. I'm like, what? Like, but that's part of the day. And then they said, oh, yeah, I eat at my desk. I don't take lunches. I'm like, but you have to take lunch break. You have to do something. You have to step away from that computer. You have to move. Do you move? Do you do squats or stretches at your desk? Do you do something? So it just amazes me, but people don't understand the impact that can have on them.
and that they don't allow themselves to
Yeah,
actually be allowed to take
yeah,
that break.
yeah.
I mean, the
Mhm.
world's not going to go under because you took a half an hour break.
That's true. That is so
And
true.
and I agree with you. I don't understand that either. But I think the smallest steps is just really take inventory
Hmm. Hmm.
and then say, okay, this is what I like to do. This is how long it takes me. And I've been recently also really talking about short exercise bouts, hence the kitchen counter push up. If you feel you don't, air quotes, don't qualify for a half an hour of exercise, sneak it in. Like you said, do a couple of squats, go up and down in your chair. When you get to the kitchen, or even at work, you have a kitchen, do some push-ups, right? Everything adds up. And I think in the end, you will feel better. You are
Hmm.
more productive,
Hmm.
and you're happier because you did something. Because the flip side is they all go, but Heike, this is just like 5 push-ups. I'm like, yeah, well, but if you do 5 every day, you have a whole bunch of push-ups. You do 10 squats every time you go or, get up and down. You have
Hmm.
10 squats a day.
Hmm. Hmm.
It's, does it move the needle significantly? No, but it depends on your goal. But it moves the needle towards your health more.
I liked it.
Longevity is what I think that's what we're all looking for.
I agree. I truly agree. I mean, because I still remember the tip you gave about the plate, the size of the plate, and how I can put the food I enjoy on a smaller plate instead of the big plate. And I remember that every time I go out, and I'm like, yes, I'm like, yeah, I want a little bit of that and that and that, because I know I kind of, watch my salt intake.
Mhm.
So, and then of course other things as well. So those are, and you're right, it's just doing a little bit and really kind of making choices. Because I was sharing with my mentor, I was in the supermarket and somebody asked me, where was the salt pork? And I was like, first of all, I wanted to say, do I look like I eat salt pork? But I said, no. I'm like, I don't know where it is. But I'm like, and then she was like, salt pork. And I said, yeah. She said, I said, yes, they still have it. And I
Oh my
said, but
god.
it's about choices. So you are so right. So my next question is, you can encourage women to reinvent themselves. How can decluttering, whether it's physical or mental, play in that reinvention?
Setting priorities. It comes down to
Mm,
setting priorities.
mm,
What is most important to me? Not my neighbor, not my husband, not my coworkers. What is important to me? And that's the mental declutter too. And that's why I sometimes say, start journaling, start writing stuff down. Just use a little journal to journal a little bit so you can actually see what you're thinking and then go from there. Because the more we load into or upload almost in our systems, in our
mm,
guts, in our brains, at some point it will be a complete overload, and we don't need that. It stresses us out, which raises our cortisol level, and then we have all the whole chain of
Mhm,
command going on there.
mhm,
But I think that the more we are clear about our why we're doing something and why it is important to us is a key component of all of that. And I know this sounds like everybody just talks about, what's your why? And I'm like, okay. I mean, I'm currently taking a public speaker class, and the class started out with, what's your why? And I'm like, I got my why. I know why I'm here. But it was also soul searching because your why has to work with the presentations you're giving and the speeches you're giving. It's look down what we said earlier, what brings you joy, what's not serving you any longer, and take a hard look at this because guilt is one of the things I talk about in the book that holds us back to actually declutter the brain or even the gut.
mhm.
Like with your salted pork, I'm like, what? That still exists?
I know in this day and age, yeah. But you're right, because my why of like walking is because both parents had high blood pressure, hypertension, both were on medications, and I didn't want that to be for me. And that's why I walk. And also I want to be able to go up and down a flight of steps without having to have any need any help or anything. I mean, of
Mhm.
course, sometimes I do because depending on the way the step is designed, but that is one of the things because I see people sometimes when they're out and about and they're leaning on things, whether they're leaning on the shopping cart or they're leaning on, and I'm like, I don't want that. I know I don't have to have that. So that's my why. And that's why when I tell people, oh, yeah, I love fried chicken, I don't necessarily fry it in my home. But if I'm
Yep.
out, I will definitely, yes, I
Good
want
fried
that,
chicken?
that, that.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, I'm going to, yeah. But in my home, no, I'll do the baked, the broiled, and I'm really work on that. So yeah, you're right. Your why does really kind of help you just kind of focus and zero in.
And it's the hardest part for all of us to be
Mhm,
honest with ourselves and not adapt somebody else's thoughts or what we see on social media when
mhm.
sometimes women talk to me about joining the Pursue Your Spark Blueprint. They're like, "Oh, I'm not fit enough just yet to join the course." I'm like, "What? What are you talking about?" Like, "Well, yeah, or look at you." And I was like, "Yeah, well, I'm very different than you." And I said, "You know nothing about me. You don't know that I was an obese teenager, that I am all through those years have worked on where I am right now. And I continue to, battle through menopause and now I'm post menopause. And, with those sagging skin. And just the other day, one of my clients said, it was actually the same client that I mentioned to the book. And she said, look at I have all these flabs hanging down. And I was like, look at me. I have all these flaps too because our skin naturally now loses estrogen, and that's just the way it is. And I said, the tighter your clothes are, the more of those flaps you're going to have. And when the bra is there, you have those little flaps going on. And what you see on Instagram or any other social media, everybody's posing and stretching up so they don't have these things. And she said, Heike, if you have it, I'm okay with this.
But true, it's all about health. It's all about how healthy you are.
Exactly.
I mean, and I see because you do the what is it, the triathlon and the this, that, and the other. So you are out there keeping your body healthy and strong. So I follow you. And of course, those watching and listening, if you don't, you need to.
And you make changes as you age. And
Hmm.
that's another. I just talked to somebody else, one of my more newer clients who is currently going through breast cancer. And she said, look at you. You look so fit. And I said, but you can't see that I have severe arthritis in my neck. I have severe arthritis in my lower back. My right knee is my bum knee. I had to stop running because it's so arthritic that if I run, I'm in super duper pain. So I'm hoping to prolong the knee replacement with strengthening, with Pilates, with low impact exercises. I said, but you don't see that from the outside. I may look all put together, but I have my ailments too. Because I said, I have to do my PT exercises today. And she said, what? Yeah, I said, I got my therapy exercises just like almost everybody else in their 60s.
Hmm. Hmm. So yeah, so that's good. So what the message do you want midlife women to walk away from after, with reading your book?
I want them to stop do-overs.
Mm.
The mentality of repeating when somebody says, oh, I'm going back to this diet. We talked a little bit about nutrition today. I went to this diet a year ago, but it worked really great. I'm going to go on that one again. Well, that means you're doing a do-over. Why didn't what you learned there didn't continue? Well, we all go through weight fluctuations. We're going up and down depending on the season, at the holidays, or whatever. But if you're staying within a healthy range, like you said earlier, healthy body, that really doesn't matter. I want them to stop do-overs. And that's why in the book, people can read the book top to bottom. They can open Pursue Your Spark and just say, I'm open the book and I think I need to deal with roadblocks, which is one of my spark letters. And I'm stuck in a roadblock. Let me see what she has to say about this. What examples does she have? What did the clients do when they got into situations to inspire them to say, I don't have to start all over. I'm starting where I am right now. And the steps that I outlined in the book, I apply to all my courses, to my own life, to anybody that comes and works with me. I'm like, look at this. I do not want you to start over. You have learned certain things up until now, and then life happened. Whatever happened, right? Life happened. And then you think, man, now I have to start from the beginning, and you don't. You learned, you got stronger. You just took a little bit of a break, and then you go back and say, what happened there? I took on too much work at the office. Let's cut down on that because that took away that time I had to do my exercise after work. Let's reevaluate them. So stop the do-overs and continue your journey, because following a program and then saying, "Ooh, I made it through the 30-day challenge. Yes, I did. And I reached that goal." And then you're done. No, there's a continuance, because what you've learned, you carry forward over and over until it fits you. Because none of our programs fit everybody.
That's
But
true.
you can learn from those programs. You can take away what works for you and then apply it going forward. If the I'm falling off the wagon theme is going to come here soon, as you know, when the episode airs, I fell off the wagon through the holidays. It's like, no, you didn't. You just made choices, like you said earlier.
Yeah, that's it.
You didn't. I mean, you made choices. You had two slices of pie. Hallelujah. Well, big deal. Own it. But again, that's what I want them to take away. It's not a do-over. It's not I have to repeat this again. So they can go in the book and say, hey, this is where I'm right now, or I'm in the contemplations phase. I don't really know what I want. And there's a chapter in there as well that deals with, what do we do? How do we approach this? I have worksheets in the book and things that people can take away with outside the book. But that's my message. And reinvent yourself, in a sense. Pursue your spark, no matter how old you are, and stop dimming your light and shine bright instead.
That's wonderful. I could talk to you forever.
You know, right?
So, first of all, show the cover of the book again, and how can people get a copy of it?
So here's Pursue Your Spark for women in midlife to get out of their midlife traps and reclaim their confidence and live fully. On anywhere you can purchase your book, also in it's soft cover, and it's also available in ebook form. And ta-da, I'd say this is the first time so far. The audiobook will be available the end of November. So by the time this airs, it will be out, and you can take me with you on your walk, ladies.
Oh, that is wonderful. And of course, I will have all those links in the show page so you can connect directly, buy the book, maybe buy two, because, you can buddy up. It could be a nice little way in the new year to buddy up. Like, you know what? I need an accountability person, so I'm going to get my bestie or my sister or, my friend. So, of course, Heike, thank you so much for taking time out to talk about your book, but just talk about how we can really reclaim our health and our life in this new year.
Thank you for having me. It's my pleasure. I'm always love talking to you.
So, what was your takeaway from my conversation from Heike? I always enjoy talking to her because I always get insight on how I can be healthier at the age I am, whether it's walking, whether it's making healthier choices with what I'm eating, or even whether it's just time for me sometimes just to pause and rest. So make sure you click the links below in the show page. You connect with Heike, you purchase her book for yourself and maybe for a friend, but also making sure that you follow me on social media and you check out my ebooks as well. So, for those of you who are listening to this via audio, make sure you stay tuned for more resources and strategies and things to help you kick off your new year. And for those of you who are watching this via YouTube, I want to thank you so much for joining me. So, continue to have an organized day and continue to have a clutter free week. Take care.